With growing concerns over the rapid spread of the coronavirus Delta variant in our borders, we've been warning all along, according to several doctors. But President Ramaphosa said last night that he was only told about the Delta virus's deathly toll 2 days ago. Well, has the government taken too long to confirm its presence? We're slowly learning more about how this variant affects us. And Dr. Sherry Fanarov is with the Gauteng General Practitioners Collaboration, and she's, of course, coming to grips with Delta firsthand. Doctor, you've really been a very sane and powerful voice during this third wave. Thank you so much for keeping us updated all the time. Doctor, what do the symptoms look like for Delta?
So with Delta, the symptoms are really quite similar to with the other variants, and I think that that's why it's taken such a long time for it to be recognized. We do, though, see more people with typical upper respiratory symptoms: runny nose, sneezing, cough, that type of symptom. Headache is very prominent with Delta variant. Sore throat is quite prominent, but we do still see the coughs, the fevers. Loss of taste and smell we still see, although it's less common than with the Beta variant.
Does this variant affect children more or less?
So it does affect children. We think that it's really just the sheer numbers of people infected that we are seeing a lot more children affected with this range, with this strain.
I think in your latest circular you said the Delta variant is so contagious, so much more so than the Beta. Just talk me through that, please.
So we've noticed that for the last few weeks already, which is why we thought that it was here earlier. Instead of seeing just one or maybe two people in a household, what we generally see now is that when somebody at home is infected, it's very rare for anybody in the house to not get it. It seems to be jumping quite quickly also from one person to the next. The incubation period can be as short as 2 days, although it can still be up to 10 days, which is why the 10 days quarantine is so important. But it also seems to be able to be caught in a very short space of time. So we used to say a close contact is somebody that's had contact in a closed room for 15 minutes. Now we think that any close contact, certainly without a mask, is significant.
When did you start hearing and noticing that there was a new strain on the scene, so to speak?
It's quite difficult to answer. Certainly as the exponential growth in Gauteng over the last few weeks has been so obvious, that's when a lot of the doctors and the paramedics suspected that we are seeing something that is a little bit more contagious and spreading a lot faster than the previous strain. It's difficult to give a definite timeline.
I think I read from one of your advisories that while most people with the previous variants were sick for those 10 quarantine days and they started to recover, this is developing symptoms after those 10 days, especially lung problems.
So we are definitely seeing that. In past strains, generally by day 10, we would say that our patients were out of the woods. We are seeing quite late deterioration now. Patients only on day 9 or 10 of symptoms getting lung disease, and we're having to monitor them for a longer period of time. Sometimes only really going to the lungs on day 10, 11, 12. And the hospital physicians are telling us the same thing. Our patients are then staying in hospital for longer. It's taking them a longer time to get over it. And that obviously also has an impact on hospital beds because the patients take longer to get better and are spending more and more days in hospital.
What is the best course of treatment for Delta? Is it the same as the previous strain?
The best course of treatment is prevention. Try not to get infected. So, stay home and don't get it. Once you've got it, in most people, the majority of people, it still does cause a mild flu-like illness. It's the people that progress to severe disease, the 10 to 15% of people who get more sick, that's worrying. So the most important thing is to isolate, to stay home, to not let it spread to the next person. At home, it's really important to monitor for symptoms and to notify a doctor or hospital should they get more severe.
Doctor, I must say somewhat foolishly on my part, because I had the virus in December, I felt I had a little bit of immunity, I felt a little bit more resilient. I wouldn't say I was less compliant, but we're hearing that this Delta can attack those again who've had the previous variants. They don't have as much as immunity, that 3 to 6 month gap that we thought we perhaps had.
So I do believe that there's some immunity in people who've had it before, but absolutely, if you've been infected previously with the beta variant, you are absolutely susceptible still to Delta. And that's really important, as you say, in terms of still being compliant with if you have been exposed, you need to still quarantine. You definitely could be infected and you definitely could transmit it.
Doctor, before I let you go, 2 questions. What is the oxygen supply like for home treatment? And give me an idea, if you can, for those of us not in Gauteng and waiting for the onslaught, what the situation is like there. A friend of mine who downplays everything said it's like, it feels apocalyptic.
Yeah, GPs in my collaboration of close to 300 GPs in Gauteng are very worried. Every single day on our group, there are 3 or 4 GPs who are putting out a request. Does anybody know who's got home oxygen today? Where can I get an oxygen saturator or a cylinder? Supplies are in short demand, in short supply. We can generally source them, but it's going to become more and more challenging. You know, doctors, most GP practices are managing dozens and dozens of patients. Each doctor has a lot of patients that we're looking after at home.
Dr. Shereni Fanarov, thank you so much for your time. You must be very, very tired. We thank you.